World without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC. Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is
UIC Liberty TV. Change you can trust.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. This is Joseph Patterson and
Charlotte Patterson.
And
Hello,
today we're here to speak with somebody from the Diaspora, one of our fellow Jamaicans. Not too far away from here, or maybe too far away from here. So we're going to talk to her and learn, a bit about her journey, how she came to where she is. And, in the process, we're going to look at how to spice things up to make it better. I want to just begin by saying, don't give up on your dreams. No matter what you're going through, just try to spice up the thing and come through the issues. What do you think, Miss P?
I agree totally. Spice always make everything better.
Spice always makes everything better, especially with seed spice, right? So we're going to talk some more about that. So let's see who we have on the live so far. Normally I have people joining from all over the place, and I see people coming in lickle, as they say. Big up Wade Noble, good to see you on. And I am seeing also EJW and what's that now? Edward Saint Hilaire is watching. We're watching from Mr. or Mrs. Hilaire or Miss Hilaire. And I see Edda All Faulkner. Did I pronounce it correctly? Yeah. And another funny name here, Nezook. Welcome, Nezook. I've seen that name before. Good vibes. Big up yourself. Good to see you on as well. Patrick White is on. So a lot of people are here tonight to hear from and learn about Miss C. And I'm also excited as well to learn more. Good evening, our good friend, Miss Elaine Besley Anderson. Good to see you on, one of our biggest supporters and a long-time donor, right, Miss Besley? I call her Miss Besley all the time. It's Miss Besley Anderson. So welcome everyone and good night. So we have a very nice light program lined up for you tonight. We're going to talk more about personal things and personal development, business, more so than politics. Now the UIC is a comprehensive platform. We look at, how you can develop yourself, how you can develop as a family, how you can develop as a community, and most importantly, how we can develop as a country. And it takes good people, good individuals, good families, good communities for us to develop. So tonight we're going to talk about some of the qualities that make for a very successful family. So Miss P, being a happy person, being a cheerful person, being self-confident, I think those are your personal responsibility. What do you think?
They are.
Yeah? Say some more.
You can get tips and advice and stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to make the choice to be these things.
Right.
No one can be them for you.
But sometimes some people become dependent on others. They think somebody else is responsible for their happiness. Somebody else is responsible for them to be cheerful. Somebody else is supposed to make them confident. What do you think?
Well, it's okay to be dependent to a certain degree. When a baby's born, the baby's dependent. Sometimes even as an adult, we get into these kind of baby stage where you need that little bit of push
No, no,
But
that. No. Baby is one thing, but when you become an adult, a different thing. That when you're an adult, you're supposed to take responsibility. Um, let me. You Diaspora, who has just her life, the bring she is today, is um, and what she has produced is also very important. So before I even go to her, I just want to say to everybody, despite what Mrs. P is saying, let's take control for our lives and see how much of a difference we will make in other people's lives when we are taking charge of our lives. So tonight we go to the diaspora for an amazing story of personal responsibility, confidence, because I find the lady we're going to talk to, she's very confident and
very cheerful.
very cheerful, very bubbly. She has a really nice personality. But you'll see it for yourself. You'll see it for yourself. So we're going to look at her personal responsibility side, her confidence and the achievements that she has made over the years. And achievement comes in different packages. Some of us is about PhD and masters and so on. Others are entrepreneurial, and some it's even just building a solid family. Like being what do you call it now? A stay-at-home mom or dad can be so gratifying and so productive. Being the best that you can be. To me, life achievement is not about any particular set of standards that some people may set. It's your own standards, what you want to achieve out of life and going forward. What do you think?
I agree.
She agrees with me this time. Okay, no problem. Good. So we'll cover Miss C's journey as well as what we're trying to achieve to make Jamaica better. So she make your food taste better with her seasoning, and we're trying to make Jamaica better by spicing up the thing in terms of how we, and with our plans and so on. So we're going all the way to Texas to chat with Miss C about her journey and fasten our business. Yeah. We want to learn from her how to spice up the thing, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, let us welcome on stage. Who?
Miss C.
Miss C. Welcome, Miss C. How are you? How
You
are you?
guys, you guys just have me here cracking up. Hi, hello.
Wow, good to see you. And look at the
Good
smiling face already.
evening. Good evening.
Good evening. So we have Miss C, we have Donnet Walker watching from Jamaica. We have Miss Elaine Besley Anderson saying a strong union between parents will produce stable, focused children who will in turn become productive, responsible, respectful adults who will have a positive impact on the economy. And we don't know what your parenting background is like, Miss C, but you are having a positive impact on your society. And I met just briefly, not fully. I saw him in the background. That's your son, right? That I saw
Yes,
earlier.
yes.
Yeah, and clearly, with the way he's helping you, helping out his mommy, I'm sure you have grown him very well, haven't you?
I have to give praise to God. It's not me. It's nothing but God's mercies. He's a wonderful, wonderful young man. But I haven't even said good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Yes,
You
good
see,
evening.
I'm here laughing so much. I'm like confidence, huh? But hi, good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Patterson. Thank you
Good
so
evening.
very much for having me. I am really
My
honored,
pleasure.
that you've decided to bring me on your program. And thanks for all my friends watching. I know my sister's there. I see a few customers. I love you guys. I appreciate you, Eddie, Miss Edda, my sister Nikki, Dion, all the folks that are watching who came on to support me. Thank you so much. You know how much I love and appreciate you guys. But yes, I'm Carlene with Miss C Seasoning. And I'm really honored to be here. So I think the question you said something about my son, Nathaniel. He is my right hand, left hand, right foot, left foot. So I,
Mm.
I really bless God for him.
So big up Nathaniel.
Yes. So
Respect you.
we do the business together.
Good,
Yes.
good.
So it's like he has to, everything has to pass through him. All the blends I create, he has to
Ah,
approve them before I send them out.
wow.
And
Wonderful.
he sometimes makes the blends too. So
Mhm.
yes.
All right, we're going to talk more about the blends later on, but it's good to know that you have a mother and son working so closely together in the business. You don't see that too often because we, unfortunately, I don't find us to be the kind of people who build solid family businesses. We tend to be always by ourselves doing something, and kids over here, parents over here, even family members overall don't come together. We fight much of the time. So it's lovely to see what your son is doing. Hats off to Nathaniel. But let me quickly big up Carol Spence and Alvera Samuels from St. Thomas and Chairman, the UIC, Dr. Coretta Brown Johnson is on. Welcome to you, Miss Dr. Coretta. And I see Marvelyn Kerr as well. Is it Kerr or Carr? Carr in this case. And Ricardo Golden. Good to see you on. All right, let's get down to business. Miss C. Miss C. Yes. Welcome again. Tell us about yourself, though. Who is Miss C really? Tell us a little about yourself. Who is the woman, this person we're seeing here tonight? Tell us about yourself.
Um, well, I was born in Belfield, St. Mary. St. Mary people kind of show off. We have our own saying, "A St. Mary me come from."
Mhm.
So, but I was born and grew up in St. Mary. I attended St. Mary High School, and then I went on to the Michael. So another group of show off people. So,
Mhm.
but I did guidance and counseling at Michael, and I worked in the school system for a few years, before coming here. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I have one son. He's 22 years old. Nathaniel is high functioning, autistic, very smart guy. But yeah, he has been a blessing to me.
Mhm. So tell us how you end up in Texas now.
So, my I started out in, like most, I feel like a lot of Jamaicans who come to this country, we start out in New York. It's like that's how we land, and then we
Mhm.
branch off into other places. I lived in New York. So Nathaniel, he was born in New York. I lived in New York um, until 2005. I was working 3 jobs just to survive. You live in a box in New York and you pay the rent is humongous. So, I really was just, I feel like I was being burnt out, so I wanted to find something that I could do without having to work 3 jobs. So I got a job offer in Texas, and that's really how I ended up moving to Texas.
Okay. I think, well, Miss P, you want to go? Uh,
Well, when Miss C and I spoke, we spoke a little bit about her journey
mhm.
from Jamaica to Texas, and I would like her to go a little bit more into that,
Mhm.
just to share her story because it's a beautiful journey. So, Miss C, please take it away.
Um, so as I mentioned, when I first came, I was in New York at that time. When I came initially to this country, it was to go back to university. At that time, there was not any institutions in Jamaica that offered a degree in guidance and counseling. So when I came here initially, it was with that plan in mind, to go back to university. If I'm to go into my story, it will take a
Oh, give
whole
us a
day.
summary.
So, you
Now,
know,
come back a little bit in Jamaica.
so
So, yeah, what,
the,
what,
the
what, yeah, go ahead. Hmm.
the the it fell through, the idea of going back to school, that fell through. During that same time, I end up um getting a divorce from my husband. Nathaniel was just a year old, and I'm like, I made the decision to stay. So it ended up where my work permit expired. I was out of status, so it meant taking on menial jobs, taking on jobs that I was underpaid, doing three jobs at a time. And it's not easy
How many
trying
years
to.
now? How many years now you've been in the US?
I've been here 22 years.
22 years.
22
Wow.
years.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's not easy, especially living in New York as a single parent, and not having much support.
Mm-hmm.
So our journey took us to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Nathaniel reminded me earlier that in the last decade we have moved 23 times.
Oh my goodness, amazing.
I didn't
Amazing.
I
So you've
didn't
been to have you been to other states, like lived in other states or just New York
I
and
lived
Texas?
shortly in Massachusetts, but it's been mainly, I've been in Texas since 2000 and 2005.
Right. Wow. Do you know a person named Lamar Grant?
Yes.
Okay, well Lamar Grant is on. Big up Lamar. Good to
Hi,
see you.
Lamar.
Yes, give him some
And
support.
I see my sister Erica. I see
Hmm.
Edda. So I see a few Eddie.
Yes.
I see a few folks.
And
Thank you
Lamar
guys
is
for
also
joining.
in Montego Bay, Montego Bay there. Well, let's move it on a little bit. I want to ask you another question. What inspired you to make your own seasoning and to get into the catering business?
So, okay. So when I okay, so in if I'm to go to that area in terms of what inspired me, I have always, even since I was in Jamaica, I always loved to cook and feed people. So everywhere I go, I would
Mhm.
go take over people's kitchen. Now, a lot of times you go to people's homes, they don't have the pots. They pot them thin and then go burn
Mhm.
up your rice and peas, or they
Yes.
might not have good knife, or them not have the seasonings that I want. So seriously, I would, if I'm visiting somebody else, I'd walk with knife
Seriously?
and pot and
Have you ever gotten your head checked? You
and
walk with your kitchen
and,
knife
and I
and
would
pot and see what going this up.
and I would take over people's kitchen, So
Oh my
and
goodness.
I because even when I was in Jamaica, I started a breakfast program because I remember growing up not having, not having enough to eat, going to my bed without dinner
Mhm.
sometime, going to the neighbor to beg them some food. Even during high school, I depended on the free lunch that was,
Yes.
provided for us. So it's like I grew up with this, like, I don't want to see anybody hungry. So, it's like I have this passion to feed people. And now it's more geared towards the homeless. But um,
Mhm.
so I would even, so the business was born during COVID. I
Mhm.
I actually had found myself homeless, was in a transitional living arrangement, me and Nathaniel.
Mhm.
And my pastor used to bring me, grocery boxes and leave on my porch. But even though I didn't have much, I still had the desire to share with people, to feed people. So
Mhm.
they have this, they call it Nextdoor app. I would post on the Nextdoor app, I'm cooking a pot of soup or I'm cooking whatever. If anybody wants some, can come pick up on my,
Wow.
on my patio. This dear friend of mine, she knew we were really struggling, And she knew that, I was passionate about cooking. So she called me up one day and she said, Carlene, you have any pictures of your food? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I need a nice look, professional looking, picture of you. Cut the long story short, she made a flyer, send out to her friends that I'm catering. And so that's how, I started catering really. And then the December of the same year, 2020, she sent me a list with, I don't remember if it was like 15 names, and said,
Mm.
because I used to just make seasoning and give to people, because in the past when I would bring stuff to people's home, they would be like, what was in that seasoning? It's so good. And so, I would just make the seasonings and give away. And she sent me that list of, I think it was 15 names, and said she want me to send seasoning to these 15 people. And I'm like, I don't know how much to, and send her the bill. I'm like, I don't know how much to charge. So that's really how Miss C's was born. And another friend, she's like, yes, we don't want no more of your free seasoning. You need to do this as a business. And when I thought about it, I'm like, wow, this would be so awesome that I get to send a little love, because that's really what it feels like. That I'm
Yeah,
sending.
yeah.
It's bigger than opening a restaurant, because a restaurant, you have to come to the restaurant to eat my food. But
Hmm.
when with you buying my seasoning, with my seasoning coming into your home, you get a little bit of my heart. You get a little bit of, it's a little bit of my love to sprinkle on your dishes. So, the idea, when I thought about it, I'm like, wow, it sounds good. So I started an Etsy store, and that's in about December of 2020. And then a year ago, I registered Miss C's LLC, Miss C Seasoning LLC.
Congratulations. Congrats. I mean, those
Thank
are amazing friends you have there, right? I mean, those
Yes.
are great friends. I mean, that is just
It's
absolutely,
awesome.
And I
adorable.
see I see Monique just joined. I
Ah,
see some other people.
so
But
Monique is one
yes,
of your friends.
My
Monique. Oh,
sister.
Monique King. Oh, Miss King. Big up Miss King. And let's see, Shakila Carr sending greetings. Donovan Reese, Lenford Wilson, Magallan. Welcome to all of you.
thank you
Um,
guys.
Donald Walker is saying, well done, sis. Wash hands. Your story is amazing, Missy. And to think that you have actually been hopeless and you have moved about so much and you're struggling in the COVID period, and friends saw the value in you. They saw that you had great potential. They saw that you could be doing something magnificent with those skills. And those are just absolutely great friends. Who wants some friends like that?
I know.
Can you send me some of your friends, please?
There, some of them are here. Some of them are here watching.
Tell them we want them for friends too. We want them friends with the joy. We want those kind of people for friends. But go ahead, Miss B. I have another question for her.
Well, I would like her to go into a little bit of discussion now, not your secret, Missy, but to tell us what is the difference between your spices and why you think others should buy the spice. And then you can do your show and tell, because I know you have your bottles and stuff there.
So when I first started out, because the main blend that I used to make and give out was the wet jerk rub. And so on Etsy, I first offered a wet jerk rub, and I wanted to replicate the wet rub in a dry rub. So I came up with the jerk spice blend. The only difference with the wet rub and the dry rub is really that the wet rub has like olive oil and vinegar, and the dry rub wouldn't have those liquid ingredients, but pretty much all the other ingredients were the same. So I find that the dry rub was easier for shipping. So and it has become my number one seller,
Mm.
because even though it's a jerk rub, you can use it on any Jamaican style dish you're preparing, because it's some of the, the same ingredients that
Mm.
you would put in your oxtail, your curry goat, your brown stew chicken, your fish. It's some of the same ingredients, so it's a very versatile seasoning. No, what makes it better, apart from the fact that it's made with love, we make the seasoning blends fresh to order, and we customize them. So a lot of my we advertise them as low in sodium. And with there are so many of us who have um hypertension in our family history, and a lot of us, we're watching our salt intake, so they're made low sodium. But even though they're low sodium, when a customer places an order, and if they say, could you not put any salt at all, or we will customize the blends exactly how the customer wants it. So that is one thing that makes it different. And then it's not just about all natural, because if you there's something that I noticed recently. I see, actually, somebody was trying to steal one of my customers, and they send them their thing, and I say, our blends are all natural. And I showed her, I said, there is an ingredient on it called rice hull. Rice hull is when you did young and you wash rice and you pick off this rice skin. That is rice hull. Yes, it is natural, but it don't have no nutritive value, and it's really a filler. So it is like adding to the volume of your, so you're not getting. And I don't want to be eating my salmon or my chicken and tasting no rice, no pick out no rice, whatever. So if you eh, all that you get in these blends, herbs and spices, no additives, no fillers, no foolishness. I put on one of the bottles, I said no added foolishness.
Ah, that's cool. No added foolishness.
Somebody said I include it in my tuna for tuna sandwich. Okay, I think that's my sister there. One of my sisters said so. No, but really, you can put it on every everything. My aunt, she added it in her ackee and saltfish.
Mhm.
I think Edda tell us that she added it in her soup. Just your rice and peas. Yes.
Do you ship outside of the US? Do you sell to anybody outside the US or
So
just within the US?
I have a few customers in Canada. I didn't, initially when I did it, I'm like, but wait, I wasn't thinking that I didn't specify that it's only shipped within the US, because
Mhm.
so I do ship outside of the US, but I need to change my pricing that I have on the on the website. So,
Right.
but I have shipped to Jamaica and I have shipped to Canada.
Right. Okay. Well, before we go any further, I just want to big up Desmond Myrie, one of our strongest and longtime supporter, is on. Good evening, Mr. Myrie. And I'm seeing Erica McNeish as well. She said, Miss C loves to cook. It's finger licking. She miss off the good. Her seasoning is the best. All right. So big up, because as I listen to you, Miss C, you make me hungry, because you're the curry goat and the oxygen. I'm a vegetarian, but I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds
But
so
you
good.
know what? And
Yeah,
they work fantastic on
I'm
vegan
sure.
dishes too.
Yes, I'm
Mushroom,
sure.
if you even like, if you should do mushroom, or if you do like a a bean stew, like a red peas
Mhm.
stew, like stew peas without
Yeah,
meat, or
exactly.
chickpeas.
Yes.
It's they
Have you
work
ever have
fantastic
you
on.
ever had what do they call it? No, they make the jackfruit.
Yes, they pull
Yes.
like pulled pork jackfruit.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And you season it down and everything. Tastes really
Mm-hmm.
wicked.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, wonderful. So the next question for you, Miss C, what is your proudest moment with your seasoning and catering business? That one moment that stands out to you and which you're most proud of. What is that?
And I it's hard to speak of a specific moment that I'm gonna say I'm proud of. And I kind of don't like the word proud because I'm honored. It brings me joy to send my seasoning blends. For me, what gives me the most joy as it relates to the seasonings is
Mhm.
when I get a customer review and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, they really enjoy the seasoning and the stuff, the stuff that they will say in the comments. Like one person,
Mhm.
she's like, her husband say her cooking is gone to a whole different level. One person
Mhm.
say even our grandbaby just eat the seasoning from the bottle, just like that.
Yes.
And somebody's like, you can season it from A to Z and from A to zucchini. So just hearing customers feedback gives
Mhm.
me joy. In regards though to because a lot of my cooking is not so much catering, but I do a lot
Mhm.
of voluntary work. I've always wanted to feed the homeless, but in Texas, they have stipulations as it relates to feeding the homeless. But for my last birthday, my 51st birthday, yeah, I'm showing off that
Oh,
I'm
you're
50.
not. Oh my goodness.
But for my 51st birthday, I made contact with a homeless shelter, and with the help of my pastor friend, I was able to cook for 150 people at that
Wow,
shelter. So that was like
amazing.
super special for me, and it's something that I would want to continue doing. But yes, so in terms of um cooking, that has been something that I'm
Right, special. Miss Alvira Samuels from St. Thomas is asking. She says, Miss C, do you list your ingredients on the packages? Reasons being, some people are allergic to some ingredients.
So right now I do have a back label. Not every time I send out, I will put necessarily put the labels on, like the
Mhm.
back label on. But on the website I have the ingredients of each of the blends listed on the
Okay,
website. And we're not going to give out all our secret ingredients, but
absolutely.
but on there, it would say, the like soy is something that some people are allergic to. So you would see that the product contains, soy.
Right. Okay. Any other questions, Miss C?
Um, well, on the topic of talking about spicing up the food, I know, Missy, we spoke recently about UIC and we shared a little bit of information, but we didn't go into depth about that because this is really about you. But UIC loves the word unity. And so when we meet people like you, we love to unite. So I'll let Mr. Patterson tell you right now what UIC is, a little bit about what UIC is, and then we want to ask you the question how you think, how would you like to see UIC spice up the thing for Jamaica in making Jamaica a better country? Because, we talked about a little bit of fear that you're experiencing right now in coming back because of all the negatives that you're hearing. So, when Mr. P share a little bit about UIC, then let's talk again how we can spice up
Yeah,
Jamaica
make Jamaica better.
from,
Well, what
yes.
I looked at your tagline, Miss C, and it says, "We make everything taste better." Did I get that right? That's the
We make
tagline.
everything taste better. Yes.
Is it better or better?
Better.
Better. So it's,
TTA.
yeah. So it's better. We make everything taste better. So Miss C seasoning, we make everything taste better. Now I want to show everybody what your let me see if I can find it here. One second. This
And I
is
see a
very good.
question. I see a question from somebody.
Right. You see that? Miss
Yes.
C's seasoning makes everything taste better. And you can find her at www.misscshop.com. missseasoning@gmail.com, 469-315-3502. And you see all the good food on the flyer there. So you can check it out. Question, you said there's a question online. Where was that?
Yeah, somebody was asking if is Miss C seasoning in
In
supermarkets
supermarket.
or just online. So right now we are not yet available in supermarkets.
Oh,
Um, just online for now.
okay. I see Mr. Craig McKenzie plugging Bee Sweet Honey. As you know, we produce Bee Sweet Honey.
I saw that.
So he's saying if you can mix Bee Sweet Honey with Missy's
Yes,
product,
man.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure. I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
Today,
It would it would work fantastic with the wet rub. You just
there you go.
so
What is that
it
one
could.
called? What do you call that one? Wet
So
what?
the wet
Wet
rub
what?
is the jerk,
Ah,
it's
right.
the jerk
Yes.
rub, and
Uh-huh. It's not like
this
you say
is the,
rum. That's why I asked.
yeah, and then this
Rum?
is the jerk
Rum.
spice
Okay.
blend.
Yeah. No, it's like you were
Oh,
saying
so like
rum.
rum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it's like
rum. Oh, rub.
Rob, got it. Yes, so you can try bee sweet honey and mix that with Missy's seasoning. I love honey on my meal. After you cook it, then I add a little bit of honey as garnish. Or, when we serve, who we serve one time, somebody we served chicken and we put the glazed honey on it, and it was so delicious. And so if you add Missy's seasoning and you glaze it with some bee sweet honey, it might just taste superb. So yes, all right. So Miss C, UIC is Jamaica's third official political party, and we're committed to creating a Jamaica that brings out the best in all its people. We want a safe, clean, and orderly Jamaica, one where everybody can live, earn, and retire with dignity. Now, many Jamaicans abroad are struggling with coming back home because of, things not right. How would you like to see Jamaica improved?
Well, there is, I have, should I say, try it's hard for you not to focus on what's happening in Jamaica. And even with us living abroad, we can't miss it. It's heart wrenching, the crime, I mean, everything, like the minute I turn around, I hear something happening with our children or with our women, and I'm like, gosh, it breaks my heart, because I'm like, that's not the Jamaica I grew up in. That's not. And for me, it's a scary thought. My mom is still there, my sisters are there, I have friends there, and when I visit, you know what, I would want to feel like I am safe. So that is like one of the biggest concerns for me, the level of crime no, in Jamaica. And if that is something that you guys can work on fixing, we need that fixed. I feel like more than anything else. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of us who are here and we're afraid to come back home,
Yes,
because
yes.
you hear all these stories of returning residents, they get attacked, or whatever it is, or even just local residents who are trying to make a life for themselves. When I came home last year, close to my home, somebody got, a little man with his grocery shop was killed. It is really sad. So that is something that if you guys can work on to make a change, listen, we need it badly.
Yeah, man, and we're all in this together. The approach of the UIC is really to unite the Jamaican people, home and abroad, to say this is our country, our favorite country. And so we
Yes.
have to come together. And, we have trusted some other people for 80 years to fix the problem. And unfortunately, they have let us down on every front, whether it's the economy or crime or roads or just development in general. They've let us down. And so it's now our time as a people to just come together and say, let us now take charge of our country and fix it. But I don't want to detract from
Yes.
the lovely story that we're
I,
having
I
here
see I see a
about,
question. Somebody had a question there for you, though.
oh, what's that?
What is
What's
the
the question?
UIC take on constitutional reform?
Sure. Patrick White, thank you for that question. Well, our take is you don't need to reform what is bad, you need to replace it. So, the constitution we have right now is one that was given to us, that was even forced upon us by our colonial masters. And we now need to write our own constitution to reflect our own values, our own desires, and one that will give us proper checks and balances to eliminate corruption from our country so that we can actually work well with the tax dollars that we have, stop wasting them, stop allowing them to be stolen, and have them go into the right direction of fixing our education, fixing our healthcare, and so on. So the UIC is for constitutional replacement, to replace the existing colonial one with a truly Jamaican constitution. All right? I see Mr. Lanford Wilson saying, for me as a Jamaican, more job for the youth. Absolutely. That's why the
Yes.
UIC has a program called the Youth Employment Solution. Yes. So, yes, Jamaica, where our goal is to ensure that every young person coming out of school, if they're not going to university or college, they go straight into an apprenticeship program, working, getting a wage, and learning skills on the job rather than having them just sitting around in their communities and getting worthless, as we say. You know, one of the biggest problem of crime in Jamaica is that when so many of our young people leave school and can't find work, can't find anything meaningful to do, two things happen. One, the young girls get pregnant and have one, two, three, four, five children. Two, the young men get more out of tune with work and more consistent at looking for ways to steal and then get into higher level crimes. If you get all of your young people who are coming out of high school to go straight into an apprenticeship program if they're not going to college or university or a trades program, you're going to reduce the possibility of them joining the gangs and getting involved in all kinds of mischief. So that's one way. Miss Monique says, so proud of you, Miss C. And
Thank
Paula
you. Thank
George
you.
says, good evening. Good evening, everyone. So yes, so
You,
we
s- you,
have,
s-
yeah, go ahead.
I see Patrick said, could you elaborate on some basic things that the UIC would champion in this
This
reform
reform.
or rewrite?
Absolutely, absolutely, Patrick. Number one, first and foremost, we have to make sure we do away with the monarchical system. So no monarchy over us. We have to liberate the Jamaican people, make us the sovereign, not somebody being sovereign over us. So remove the monarchy 100%. Number two, we need to have an elected executive. So a president that is elected by the people, not a prime minister that is forced upon the people by virtue of the party that wins the election. Number three, we have to make sure we have an elected Senate. So senators, instead of being appointed by party leaders to represent parties, let's have senators voted by the parishes to represent each of the parishes. Number four, we have to make sure that we have a 100% publicly funded electoral system. So remove the private money, remove the PSOJ big money that they use to control our politicians. Let's have our politicians being publicly funded so that they can represent the people and stop representing the party and the PSOJ oligarchy. And I can tell you more, but those are some of the big ones. Any other questions?
Um,
All right, Mr.
there
Wayne
was
Noble. Oh, go ahead, Miss C. Miss
no,
C.
I was seeing yes, Eileen Beasley Anderson.
Beasley.
There is a comment from her that I don't know if you want to
Let me see
read
if I can see it here. She's
because
saying, if Jamaicans don't make the effort to elect the UIC, let me see here, as the next government, the diaspora will be affected in more ways than one. Every time a Jamaican suffers, it's the foreign relative who sends money. So true, so true, so
Mm-hmm,
true.
mm-hmm.
All right. We have a whole heap of questions and comments here, Miss C. You want us to take all of them?
No, it's I was just helping you. I was just helping you to
No, I
speak.
love the help. I love the help. I love the help. So, Mr. Craig Mackenzie said, talk up the things, President. And Patrick White says, great, inspiring story, Miss William. And I love her story.
Thank
I
you,
love,
thank you,
I
thank
love her
you.
story tremendously. Church of, what do you say that, Sykes? Or Sykes says UIC for Reformation. And Nezook says, if we don't get the UIC in to make the change, with the police and then the politicians don't stop robbing the people and mashing up. Miss C, one of the things I notice in Jamaica when it comes down to our police officers is that they have never been trained to respect the people. We talk about serve and protect, but the UIC believes very much in the principle of having three parts to our police: serve, protect, and respect. If our police officers don't learn to show respect to the people won't respect them and won't cooperate with them. We also believe in changing the system to one of community policing, where the police really lives in and is a part of the community so that they can help the young men and young women at the early ages to really respect the law, respect authority, and work with the families like a social worker, as opposed to just being this figure that shows up when there's a problem
Right.
and is dominant. I want the police to be more involved in the community and a part of it. What do you think about that?
Sounds good. Sounds good. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah. Okay, so Craig, I see Craig McKenzie have a whole heap of comments. He talks about, he says, so Miss C, are your products in Canada?
No, we're not in Canada. I have shipped to Canada. The shipping is a little pricey. So,
Mhm.
yeah, but I have shipped to Canada, but they're
Okay.
not currently in Canada.
Wonderful. I see Craig got a lot of comments earlier on.
They will need specialized training is the more current
Yes,
one. The
yes.
police,
That's
they
and
sure do.
even the politicians. One of our plan with politicians is to make sure we only have qualified people going forward. We can't afford to have some of these people we have right now that are there. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up now, ladies and gentlemen. I think we have covered. Miss P, did you have anything else you wanted to say? I think we just take over the show, so I don't allow you
And
to
the
say
question
anything.
and a lot of questions are coming in. What time frame UIC have to form the next government?
All
We're
right, so
getting
we're going to email me the question. She's going to ask the question on behalf of the people. She said, what time frame the UIC have to form the next government? Well, the truth is, the time frame for us to form the next government depends on you. The UIC, unlike the other two parties, right, let me just give you a little bit of lesson here if you don't know. For the last 80 years, we have had one group that funds the two major parties. It's called the PSOJ oligarchs. Back in the day, back in the 1940s, and so they were called the plantocracy. These are the richest people in the country. They control the politicians, they control the economy, and so they give millions and millions of dollars every year to the two parties. So it doesn't matter which of them you elect, this group is always in power because they control, they pull the strings, they're the puppet masters. The UIC is a grassroots movement, a grassroots political party, which means our funding comes from the people on the ground here in Jamaica and the people in the diaspora. So if you fund us, we're able to do the work. If you don't fund us, we're not able to do the work. It's a very simple equation. The UIC roughly pulls in about $6 million a year, which is peanuts. The other part is pulling in like $350 million for a few weeks, right? So the UIC can form the government as quickly as we rise up. Now, they know that we're ignorant. Most people are ignorant of politics in Jamaica. They just see politicians, they form an opinion, but they don't understand how the system is set, how it works. We have to buy our own party, we the people. We have to own our own party. We have to fund our own party. And the UIC was designed for you to own it, for you to fund it, for you to help it to do the job for you. It's like a lawyer. If your opponent has a good lawyer that they're paying for, and you don't have a good lawyer, who's going to win the case? Very likely your opponent. So right now, our opponent is the PSOJ oligarchs who own the other two parties, and they're funding them heavily. Let us come together now and fund the UIC so that we can do the work you want us to do for you. So as soon as you do it, we're in government. The longer we take, the longer it take. All right, next question, Miss C.
my mother is calling. I was I was trying to help her, tell her how to get on.
Ah,
I told her go ask the neighbor. So it seemed like she
understood.
didn't get on. But so I see Wade said the UIC shall break the chains and shackles and set the people free. And
Amen.
we need to be set free indeed. Um, Miss Aline said, "Thank you, Miss C, for coming on and coming on and your story. You are a great inspiration for those who are suffering and think that there is no hope for them. I wish you long life and prosperity for your business." Thank you so much. And I'm about, for me, I believe that we are so caught up in just caring about ourselves that
Mhm.
we lose sight of just common human tendencies. One of my, outside of the business, my favorite line is, be somebody's reason to smile. You would be amazed at the difference that one little smile can
Can
make.
we?
So I
Mhm.
make it my duty every day. And even the worst of the person that you think is horrible, you don't know what that person is going through. You don't know what is it that got that person to that stage they're at. And so we have to try to find good in everybody, and do make an effort to do something good, something kind to somebody each day, not just your family you know
Amen.
um and so that's Miss Beasley. That's my I see that as my purpose.
Mhm.
I see that as something that I strive to do, to inspire. No matter what you're going through, you can overcome. There is hope as long as you're alive. And our struggles don't all look the same. For me, it might have been overcoming poverty. For somebody else, it's sickness, it's death. We all, this journey called life, it looks different for all of us. you know but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you get up each day, as long as you have breath in your body. You take it a step at a time, and you give it this thing your best shot, and believe that tomorrow will be better.
You know
um
that song? You know that song? One day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking of you. Yeah. So that's the
and I
song.
like to say one step, because one day is a whole 24 hours. So just
So
give me
then make
one
a whole
step.
heap of step in 24 hours, eh? Yes, yes,
Just
yes.
one step.
Miss P, any thoughts?
And I see a few people commenting on, like, Kimberly, Missy's spices are amazing. She's watching from Texas.
Big up
Um,
Kimberly.
and Miss Leonie, I second that. The seasonings are delicious. So thank you guys. Thank you for your support. Um,
I see a business idea here from Craig McKenzie. It's saying mixing the bee sweet honey with Miss C's product. And he went on to say,
it
I
was,
need royalties. I need
I
royalties
see
if
that.
this comes out.
I see that. I
And then
see.
he says also, please keep the dark honey for me. Now, Craig loved the dark honey. The dark one is mostly when they go and feast on the sugarcane during the harvest time.
Mm,
So because they feast on the sugarcane, the honey is a bit darker and
darker.
it has more of a molasses flavor to it. So I normally recommend that one to women because of the apparent or supposed high iron content in it. But Craig is not a woman, but he love the dark honey anyway.
And I see that you ship. I see that you ship overseas. So definitely,
Yes, yes.
Craig, I'll tell you about it when I try, because I make a barbecue sauce from scratch, and so I could use some honey in that. So
Wonderful.
Craig, yes, we'll try that out. But
So Miss Julia Chambers, only the UIC can help Jamaica, and Monique King, she had me create an inspirational artwork about making someone to smile. She stands by it. Beautiful, Monique. And yes. So any other questions or comments?
I'm
No, Miss C, do you have any questions for us personally? I mean, you might want to ask something.
um
You might want to, you know.
I because I've, in terms of what you guys are about, because I read the information that you have shared, and it gives us some hope. So we're We're hoping that, some of these things you will be able to, make some things happen,
Hmm.
because we really do need some change.
Yes, yes, yes. So, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are 5 minutes away from ending tonight's program. And I don't know, Miss B, do you have anything else you want to say to Miss C about her seasonings?
I just want to tell Missy that like her story is really touching, it's really moving, and it's really inspiring. For me,
Mhm.
I've actually shared her story with my mother today, and my mother said to ask her if she has any seasoning for her pains to make them go away.
Yeah.
So Missy, you're gonna have to work on that.
So you have to,
But
yeah.
it's truly a blessing to hear you, hear the journey that you've been on, and I know that you're not stopping here. You have great things in store, and we know that you're going to get bigger. So right now, I'd ask you again if you can just tell people how to reach you, say the website, say the number, and I'm sure Craig is going to make an attempt to perhaps meet you at the border to get some since shipping is so expensive, right, Craig? So
Craig,
go ahead, Missy, tell them where to find you.
so right now you can get Miss C's seasonings at misscsshop.com. That's MSCS shop.com. You can reach me by email too. So when you place an order, if you have any customization requests, you can shoot me an email, and we can make those special requests for you. I can also be reached at 469-315-3502.
Wonderful, wonderful. And, I just want to say life is not easy and can be very challenging at times. But if we work hard, if we have a good attitude, and if we learn how to earn like Miss C has, we can make it anywhere in the world, even right here in Jamaica or all
Yes,
the way over there in
yes,
Texas.
yes,
So,
yes.
what we do in the diaspora, and the truth is, when Jamaicans go abroad, they really do well. I mean, I have always seen, no matter, Miss C, you have gone through being homeless, you have gone through moving all over the place, you have gone through divorce, but the truth is, you are in the land of promise, a place where many Jamaicans have gone and made something of themselves. Whether they're highly educated or not so educated, they have found ways. I mean, I went to Canada. I must tell you, I'm very happy for the time I spent in Canada. It gave me an opportunity to really realize a lot of my full potential. And I'm just sad that right here in Jamaica, so very often we're oppressed and suppressed by the system, but still people are making it here. People are trying their darnest best and are doing well. So what we do in the diaspora, we can do it here at home if we rise up Jamaica. Let's spice
Yes,
up the team by adding the UIC seasoning to the mix. Let's join, volunteer, and donate to elect no less than 6 MPs and some councillors in the next election. Let us stand up and say one UIC, one Jamaica, because we're stronger together. And with people like Miss C doing her thing, and we all doing our part, we can make Jamaica that better place. So one Jamaica, stronger together. Well, I said one Jamaica, yeah? Stronger together, one Jamaica. So Miss C, thank you so much for your inspiration,
and
for
thank
the
you
blessing,
guys. Thank you
and for
so
that.
much for having me.
It's a
Thanks to
real pleasure.
everyone who joined. Appreciate the love.
Thank you so much. Have
And
a good
and we have
day.
to go get some Misses to you guys, Mr. and Mrs. Patterson. So,
Absolutely. So you're going to have to mail
yes, we have to go
some to
mail
us.
some. We have to go mail
And
some
when
to
we
you.
do, we're going to bring you back just to show off our package of seasoning and say you will get for the one too. So thank you so much for being here. Now, Miss C, we normally get people to rate the program at the end of it. So people, please rate the program. Give us 100% if we were excellent. Something less if we weren't so good. So go ahead and rate the program now 100% or 90% or 80% or 50% or 10% or 1%, whatever it is. Tell us if you enjoyed tonight's program, and we love you for it. We cannot do this without you, so go to our website at www.uicliberty.tv uicjamaica.com, and click on the donate button and send us $1 or $10 or $1,000, whatever it is. We're going to hit the streets on September 22nd. Yes, we're going out again on the second anniversary of our march on Gordon House. 2021 we went to Gordon House with about 500 strong, and of course, remember I was arrested. We're going back out again this year. We're going to be in half a tree this time, and we're going to have a really, really very important message for the people. And so I'm inviting you all, if you can make it. If you can't make it, that's fine. Donate so we can pay for some flyers and some bullhorns and whatever it takes to, communicate the message to the people. So join us on September 22nd. We're going to levy the message, tell them time up. We've had enough of them for 80 years. It's time for us now to create a new and better Jamaica. And then on October 22nd, we're out again, this time with the, the annual Human Rights Award dinner. And following that, we're going to have the Youth Summit on November 22nd to bring out our youth and empower them to make sure that they see all the opportunities and don't be scared of the AI, but getting around it. And then on December 22nd, we have our annual Christmas dinner and fundraiser. Sorry?
We celebrate.
We celebrate? What's that?
December 22nd.
We
celebrate after all the hard work.
Oh, we celebrate after all the hard work. Thank you very much, Mrs. P. And so that will be on December 22nd. But for now, September 22nd, join us, please. So go to the website and give your donation if you can. Lend your support, volunteer, join up, and let's get the work done. Miss C, have a good night. God bless you.
Thank you, guys. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Take care.